Good evening, everybody. It's great to see so many friends from my early days here 20 years ago. Some got older, some got better. But indeed, it's great to be here at the forum by the Caspian Policy Center. Even 20 years ago when I was here, there were very, very few people who were talking about the region. And now we have an institution who is dedicated specifically on bringing attention to this very important part of the world, to the heartland. Ambassador Hoagland said that it should be few words. Along with words, for me, as a math lover, it's all about numbers. It's 30th anniversary of our diplomatic relations, and it's also exactly 20 years since my first posting to Washington, D.C. And 20 years ago, it was actually 10th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the United States of America and my country. And I just want to very shortly give you 3 points on what was then and what is today. Kind of time lapse. So 2002, when I was here, on energy side, yes, we had contracts. Yes, we agreed on taking out Azerbaijan's energy resources and provide for energy security globally in Europe. But when we looked at today, what has happened after these agreements were signed, now we have the means of transportation. Now we have Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline for oil. Now we have Southern Gas Corridor for natural gas. And on top of it, when 20 years ago I was here, I remember the debates on the Hill, for example, on Baku-Tbilisi-Kars Railroad. And in fact, Congress prohibited funding this very important project by US Exim Bank. But what happened, Baku-Tbilisi-Kars is functional today, and US companies are using it, and it is a contributor to transportation networks we all need today. Another point is about the capabilities. In 2002, we were trying to get as much as possible from the United States of America to strengthen ourselves, to have reforms, to have our defense capabilities, to have our economy moving forward. But what's happening today, we are a very strong contributor. After 2002, Azerbaijani troops served in Iraq and Afghanistan. In fact, were among the very last who left Kabul International Airport. And in many other areas, Azerbaijan's contribution to international security is, I think, beyond and above of expectations. The last thing which is important is about being recipient, again, it's linked also to the second part, and being an enabler. It's a little bit of difference between contribution and enabling, I think. Where my country is enabling today is, for example, we can look at Azerbaijan's Hasan service, which was established to help Azerbaijan in its reforms, providing good services to citizens. But today we're providing help to other countries, helping them in their reforms, in helping them provide good services for their people. And specifically to those countries who went through hardships we had after the collapse of the Soviet Union, after regaining our independence 30 plus years ago. Or if you look at our mine agency, we were asking for all the help to help us establish first this agency, help Azerbaijan in terms of its unexploded ordnance and mines and demining efforts. But today, our mine agency is everywhere, starting from Afghanistan, in the Middle East, in the Balkans. We're helping other people. Very importantly, politically, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of international relations, If Azerbaijan was seeking for implementation of UN Security Council resolutions, then within these 20 years after 2002, we became members, non-permanent members of UN Security Council. Azerbaijan is chairing and presiding over non-aligned movement, which is the second largest entity, international entity in the world after United Nations. And Azerbaijan is providing aid today, and even during the COVID, we provided aid to more than 50 countries. So in short, if you look at this picture, you can see that, well, our cooperation with the United States, of course, helped us to be strong on our feet, but also Azerbaijan today is helping not only the United States of America, but all other friends in order to make our world a better place. So I congratulate you all. I'm sure that I'm not going to be here for the next anniversary, but I hope we'll have many more achievements for the good of all people. Thank you.
Ambassador, thank you so much for that. I know there is so much more you could have said. We're in a historic transition. There's so much more good to come, and we look forward to that. I would like next to invite to the podium the representative of the Embassy of Georgia, the Deputy Chief of Mission, Giorgi Tsikolia. Thank you for coming tonight, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ambassador. It's a pleasure being here, and it's always tough to speak after such an eloquent speaker. I was asking myself, how should I start my speech after listening to the Ambassador and then his wonderful remarks, and trying to make sure that the audience stays as attentive to my remarks as they are to yours. So it's always great seeing you. Dear friends, ambassadors, colleagues, I'm delighted to join you today in commemorating the 30 years of partnership between the US and the countries of South Caucasus and Central Asia. I would like to thank organizers, the Caspian Policy Center, Mr. Afghan Nifty and Ambassador Hoagland, for their relentless work in pushing for closer ties between the wider Caspian region and the US. Last year, Georgia marked the 30th anniversary of regained independence through the referendum held across the country, including in currently Russia-occupied regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Since that fateful period, Georgia firmly embarked on paths of democratic development and integration into European and Euro-Atlantic institutions. This path, despite immense challenges, has been marked by substantial progress, resulting in becoming the NATO aspirant country, signing the association agreement and visa-free regime, and just recently applying for the EU membership candidate status. Georgia is constantly ranked among the top global countries in easiness of doing business, corruption perception, effective and transparent governance. This progress would not have been possible without the firm US assistance provided to Georgia since the early days of regained independence. The US unwavering support for Georgia's sovereignty and its territorial integrity, as well as its continuous economic assistance in various areas tailored to Georgia's priorities, were critical to our success. Through agencies such as USAID and Millennium Challenge Corporation, the US promoted economic growth, energy independence, infrastructure, development, and education sector. Over the years, this friendship evolved into what today's robust strategic partnership based on shared values and interests codified in US-Georgia Charter on Strategic Partnership. As underlined by esteemed speakers throughout the discussion earlier today, our region, strategically located at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, and the shores of the Black Sea and Caspian, plays an important role connecting East and West, offering significant opportunities for the US companies to enter global markets through expanded transportation and energy infrastructure. Caspian region, with its abundance of energy resources, and the South Caucasus, with its access to the Black Sea, is a critical element for stability and prosperity on the Eurasian continent. A few months ago, Georgia celebrated opening of the new multifunctional terminal located in the largest Georgian port city of Poti. Development of $120 million project was completed through the funding of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. Just recently, U.S. DFC announced 3 new projects in Georgia, increasing company volume of investments to around $800 million. Just north of Pori, in the city of Batumi, an American transport and logistics company out of New York called Tramo invested $25 million in a new multimodal cargo terminal. Similar developments enhanced fast and secure transportation of goods from Central Asia to Europe and vice versa, expanding trade and economic relations and fostering interregional security and connectivity. The government of Georgia has already embarked on a multi-billion program to upgrade and develop country's backbone infrastructure, such as highways, railway systems, seaport network, and airports. We're working with partner countries to develop the Black Sea submarine cable connecting South Caucasus region directly to Southeast Europe via submarine transmission cable crossing the Black Sea. Georgia continues to negotiate the favorable free trade agreement, which will provide both political and economic support in these difficult times. We support the plan to establish the DFC office, regional office in Georgia, which will illustrate the strengths of the Georgia-US strategic partnership and will be another public and practical demonstration of US engagement in and support towards the region. Such developments will bring economic, political, and security benefits for both countries and our entire region, enhancing our strategic partnership as well as US leadership and posture in our region. The Georgia Support Act, the first standalone legislation in support of Georgia that passed the House last week, is yet another landmark document cementing US-Georgia bilateral partnership. Unfortunately, as Russia yet again seeks to dominate a sovereign nation through direct military aggression, a consolidated approach and an increased level of cooperation are crucial to preserving the rules-based international order and global peace. Georgia, which experienced its own Russian invasion back in 2008, and with 20% of our sovereign territory currently occupied, has been demonstrating its full support of and solidarity with Ukraine. We stand strongly with our Western partners in condemning Russian aggression. In closing, I would like to quote a famous son of the United States, Daniel Webster, who once said, "God grants liberty only to those who love it, and are always ready to guard and defend it." Thank you for the opportunity for being here. It's been an honor. Thank you.
I really appreciated those comments, and I know we have many more important comments to come. As we move through the alphabet of countries, we're going to move now to Kazakhstan. And I have the great honor to introduce the Ambassador of Kazakhstan to the United States, Yerzhan Ashikbayev. Thank you so much, sir, for being here tonight.
Excellencies, dear guests, distinguished participants, it's a great honor and privilege for me to address such an audience, especially in post-pandemic, hopefully post-pandemic times now. And it's a double challenge for me to speak after 2 eloquent representatives of South Caucasus who are known for the beauty of their speeches. So I have already promised not to use my papers sometime after I serve here for 20 years, maybe. So just to be on par with my colleagues. So first of all, I want to thank esteemed Mr. Evganivty and Ambassador Hoagland for this organizing this wonderful event and their efforts, tireless efforts to increase awareness about our great Caspian region. For the past 30 years, the United States has been a reliable and indispensable partner with clear and unwavering support to our territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence. We had our own ups and downs, but our American partners have been supportive on every single step of the way. And we are particularly grateful to our US colleagues for being so supportive to Kazakhstan during this crucial time, while we are investing hugely to become more liberal, more inclusive, and more human-oriented society. Most of you have heard of sweeping political modernization reforms initiated by President Tokayev. And well, let me just say that exactly this morning, President announced that nationwide referendum will be held in exactly 1 month to seek public nationwide endorsement to his program of reforms. So it will take place on June the 5th, and we very much look forward to the implementation of that reform agenda. And of course, the United States has been, as I said, a trusted, reliable partner, and we very much look forward to the continuation of this very fruitful partnership. And Ms. Kaur has already underlined so many areas of our bilateral cooperation, but we shouldn't limit. Basically, sky is the limit, and we can see from the political commitment of Biden-Harris administration, especially recently, that everything is possible. At the same time, emerging new geopolitical realities unfold the importance of political stability, investor-friendly climate, and regional security for the cross-cutting development of the entire region. Unlocking potential of Greater Caspian area is a key to address not only regional but also global challenges such as food or energy security. And since the early days of our independence, Caspian energy diplomacy was the driving force of economic development in our part of the world. As for Kazakhstan, it paved the way for economic cooperation with the United States, with starting from the Tengiz oil field and landmark deal with Chevron, to remarkable achievements in investments and sustainable growth. So for the past 20 years, we only once demonstrated a negative growth, which is economic term. All the other years were a positive growth for Kazakh economy. And we became a destination for 60+ billion of US investments. And this is a really remarkable figure for us. Because of its size, location, economic performance, Kazakhstan has been a crucial contributor to trans-Eurasian connectivity and prominent advocate of regional economic integration, not only with its next-door neighbors, but well beyond its borders. As experts have calculated, today Kazakhstan accounts for 70% of land transit traffic from China to Europe and vice versa. And we've invested something close to 30 billion in the common good, basically. Whatever is the transit infrastructure of Kazakhstan, it's a common good for entire region. And today we are also further developing our Caspian seaport infrastructure for Port of Aktau to be a container hub on the basis of free economic zone. And we have already started advancing the Trans-Caspian International Transport Road that connects Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey with not only with Kazakhstan, but with entire region of Central Asia. We also I should also mention the C5+1 platform, and I believe my colleagues will elaborate on the achievements and prospects of that cooperation platform further, but let me know that we shouldn't be limiting ourselves to the current acute issues only, but also think of the decades to come, and it's with this understanding that Kazakhstan is very much open to enlarging the C5+1 cooperation formats to new areas like human dimension, like parliamentary diplomacy, like women economic empowerment, and many, many more to add. And we also believe that the greater Caspian region countries possess all essential instruments to ensure peace, security, and sustainable development. By bringing together collective efforts against the emerging challenges and enhancing mutual engagement, we will be capable of delivering tangible results to our people. What we seek, basically, is predictable political climate and strong bonds of partnership. And I hope today's afternoon stimulating discussions and exchange of views, both now across the tables and I very much hope after this wonderful evening, will seize the opportunity to find new avenues for our cooperation, both within the region and far beyond. So with this, let me complete my remarks, and I wish everyone the most pleasant evening and very pleasant discussions over the lunch. Thank you.
This is really like taking a voyage through the region, isn't it? What we're going to do is move a bit further south at the moment to the independent Kyrgyz Republic, the country of Kyrgyzstan. And I would like to invite Ambassador Baktybek Amanbaev to come to the podium to give his brief remarks for the evening. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellencies, dear participants, dear ladies and gentlemen, today we are celebrating the important milestones in relations between Caspian region and the United States. Therefore, first of all, let me to congratulate my colleagues from Caspian Policy Center and all representatives from this region and the organizers of this wonderful meeting. Dear colleagues, congratulating our colleagues with this wonderful meeting, I would like to say a few words about main common values which unites our countries, our nations together. Kyrgyz Republic is not this among the Caspian states, but we are closely connected, long-term, centuries-old historical and cultural commonalities. It's a fact. The great Silk Road, which historically coming from India and China, crossed Central Asia, flowed into Caspian region, and further connected Great Asia with European countries. Whether we want or not, whether we are a small country or powerful country, we are all the same, we are all the weak under the laws of nature. Nowadays, we are all under the pressure of global natural challenges, such as global warming, pollution, and the pandemic. COVID-19 has forever changed our world and caused a significant slowdown the economy of the world. At the same time, the bloody conflict which have taken place in Ukraine have already exacerbated this phenomenon and has negative impact on economy of our countries. In addition, the consequences of pandemic, the new condition of the world order, and have reinforced the new structural reform of world economy. More precisely, with transition from the traditional resource-based economy to the digital, to the green economy. It's a fact. It's a new requirements of post-pandemic situation. How to get out from this situation? There is one way. It is further integration into regional and the global economic trends. Kyrgyz Republic is one of the democratic countries in Central Asia. Over the last 30 years, we have very good relations with the United States, and we have felt very good friendly assistance in strengthening human rights, mass media, rule of law, and accountable government. We have very good results. We have very strong civil society now. We have very strong mass media in Central Asia. Now the main goal of our government is to create very good, enough, sufficient condition for business and for international investment, and to develop our economy and to improve the welfare of our people. From this, in this regard, I would like to thank the colleagues from Caspian Policy Center for the excellent job bringing us together to talk about this problem. Finishing my speech, I would like again to congratulate our colleagues with this wonderful 30th anniversary of diplomatic relation between region and the United States. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. As we travel through the region, we're going to move a bit westward now, at least on the map. And we have the great honor this evening of having the ambassador of Turkmenistan with us. This is Ambassador Meret Orazov, a gentleman I've worked with for a number of years, and I'm so honored to introduce you, sir. Thank you for coming this evening. We look forward to your comments.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank the Caspian Policy Center for its decision to celebrate the 30th anniversary of our diplomatic relations. Let me also thank the leadership of the center for the invitation to take part in the conference and to speak to you. I'm pleased to meet today here many friends, my American friends, with whom I've been working for years here in GC. So again, thank you very much for organizing that event. The importance of the Caspian region has already been mentioned very well by previous speakers, so I will not repeat myself on this subject. I will not just write away that Turkmenistan consistently stands for cooperation between all the Caspian littoral countries, as well as for international cooperation. I would like to emphasize that these 30 years have not been easy for the countries of the Central Asia and Caucasus. It was a period of formation of independence with all the difficulties that accompany the construction of a new state. In the same period, a new diplomatic school of young states was being created and building relations with world community. In this difficult process, the United States stood by and provided us with support in many areas. During these years of independence, friendly and fruitful relations have been established with the United States, and we highly appreciate the assistance provided to us, especially in the first years of independence. In turn, Turkmenistan, with the framework of this neutral status, provided support to the coalition forces in Afghanistan and continues to cooperate on security issues, for which it repeatedly receives expression of gratitude from the United States. By the way, speaking about our neutrality, I think that the United States was a key country who supported us to get this neutral status, and I believe that we honestly work on the fields of United Nations and doing our best to be a really neutral country. Looking forward to our future relations between the US and Turkmenistan, I do think that we have a bright future. A lot of fields where we can cooperate to build mutual business, to help each other, and I think we will do this. Returning to the Caspian, I would like to note that the Caspian problems are especially difficult, since they affect the interest of both the Caspian countries, since the Caspian countries themselves and a number of other countries of the world. It is no coincidence that it took 27 years just to reach a consensus on the status of the Caspian Sea. But this document has been adopted, and it opens up the wide opportunity for legitimate cooperation at the international level. An example of such cooperation is the agreement reached in January last year between Turkmenistan and Azerbaijan on the joint exploitation of the Dastluk field. Turkmenistan maintains good constructive cooperation relations with all the Caspian countries. Turkmenistan has big plans for transport routes in Caspian region. For example, there is the north-south railway through Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran. There is the east-west railway through the port of Turkmenbashi on the Caspian Sea. There is international cooperation on environmental issues, tourism, and science. But there is no doubt that the topic of energy cooperation in the Caspian Sea is of the greatest interest of international investors. I would like to note that Turkmenistan is open for such cooperation. And recently elected new president of Turkmenistan, Serdar Vakhabov, confirmed this. We consider the current different international environment. We understand that it carries both opportunities and risks. In this regard, I would like to emphasize that in relation to a large investment, there can be no lightweight solutions here. In the highest degree, we have attached and will continue to attach equal importance to both issues of commercial benefits of the projects and issues of security and maintaining friendly relations with our neighbors. I think also that the latest technologies for extraction, processing, and transporting energy resources should play an important role in the development of energy cooperation. In this regard, America can play a very, very important role in our region. I welcome this cooperation, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, our voyage continues. We're going to cross the Caspian Sea now and cross it just a bit further because we're going to the country of Turkey. Many of the nations of this region are Turkic, and in fact, they're rediscovering their Turkic history and traditions. And we are so honored this evening to have with us to speak to us next the ambassador of Turkey. This is Ambassador Hasan Murat Yerzhan. Sir, thank you for honoring us tonight.
I'm not quite sure whether Turkey is after Turkmenistan or before Turkmenistan alphabetically. So we're gonna sort it out later. Excellencies, colleagues, dear friends, I have to start by thanking Caspian Policy Center for organizing today's 30th anniversary event. Caspian Policy Center has always been doing an excellent job in promoting policies, whether they are energy policies or otherwise, in the region. We are proud to be part of today's celebration. And I can tell you at the outset that our collaboration and support for CPC's work will continue in the years to come. Now, I will share a few points from our perspective, from Turkish perspective, as we are getting toward the end of the dinner. Let me put very bluntly, we are at a pivotal moment in the 21st century. I think this century and the days we are living through is going to born different scheme, political, strategic, and otherwise. Because of, in fact, two reasons which had been stated before me. One, we all know, pandemic. And then the second one is, of course, the war in Ukraine. I'm very sure that the war in Ukraine will have profound effects on the Caspian region in specific and globally speaking. Sadly, the terrible humanitarian tragedy and the conflict in Ukraine occupy our hearts and minds on a daily basis. We maintain our position on Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and of course reject Russia's aggression. Our leadership, Turkish leadership, continues its active efforts to achieve a resolution between Russia and Ukraine. So far, it has not been easy. But the longer this war goes on, more devastating impacts it will become. When I came to the United States, I categorized the political challenges, global political challenges, as great power competition. And each and every country must probably reorient its policies given the fact that we are going through great power competition. I hope and I pray that we will never face great power confrontation, because when it happens, and if it happens, it will have devastating impact. Now, mitigating the short and long-term effects of war in Ukraine on all our societies, economies, and our regional security will require one major thing: more cooperation, more coordination, more dialogue. Not necessarily we will agree on everything. We might have some differences, but cooperation, dialogue probably is vital in terms of creating more stable, sustainable region and the world at large. We must look forward on how we will be able to foster more connectivity, peace and prosperity among countries in the region. Turkey's relation with Central Asian countries, as you all know, and as the ambassador said, as well as our relation with Georgia and Azerbaijan constitute a pivotal dimension of our foreign policy. For the last 30 years, Turkey has always supported these countries in their efforts to consolidate their independence and to ensure their territorial integrity, defined by United Nations Security Council and United Nations resolutions. And our American allies have been a preferred partner. We work to achieve considerable progress, particularly in connecting the energy resources of the region with other markets. Our shared cultural, linguistic, and kinship ties with Azerbaijan and Central Asian republics constitute an important factor in shaping our relations, policies, and perceptions. In addition to our bilateral relations, Turkey closely engages with our partners in the region through multilateral platforms, including Organization of Turkish States. This year, we are chairing the Organization of Turkish States. Once again, I cannot emphasize the importance, how much I reiterate, increasing connectivity, dialogue with us, with others, are now even more important and necessity for all of us. Now let me go through all this, and I'm not going to take much of your time. As embassy, Turkish embassy, we avail ourselves in better understanding each other, in trying to sort out our problems, differences, and enhance our cooperation, because in the era of great power competition, regional dialogue, regional cooperation is more important than ever. I hope Caspian Policy Center, with what it had done until now and what they want to do from now on, will help foster this cooperation, foster regional understanding, regional dialogue, and hopefully will help prevent great power confrontation. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Yerzhan, thank you so much for those very kind and candid and honest words. We're very grateful to you for that. We continue our voyage through the region, and we now come alphabetically to Uzbekistan. Now, this might be the last speaker of our ambassadors this evening, but let me remind you that the country of Uzbekistan was the first time I ever personally set foot on the soil of a beautiful region and smelled the beautiful air of a wonderful region and experienced the great welcome and hospitality that the region is so well known for. So with that, I welcome you, Ambassador Vakhabov.
So quite challenging to be the last speaker. So thank you, Ambassador Hoagland, for allowing me to share this flow with my fellow ambassadors from the region of Central Asia and the Caucasus. And the timing of this event, I believe, couldn't have been better. And 2022 is very special to our bilaterals, as we are marking 30 years of diplomatic ties and 20 years of strategic partnership between Uzbekistan and the United States. And we highly value the United States' support of progressive transformation and irreversible reforms in Uzbekistan, aimed at building free society with good governance, free economic, so justice and the rule of law. And now our nations are standing at a new historical point with more broader opportunities. And in my remarks, very briefly, I would like to stress on issues how the United States actually can be a better partner to Uzbekistan and the entire region of Central Asia. So first, the United States definitely can intensify the engagement with the region through high-level political dialogue. So the U.S. Unwavering support of independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Uzbekistan and other countries of the broader region is important as never before. And a striking example of this commitment could be a high-level visit to Uzbekistan and other countries of the region that has never been visited by a sitting American president. Second, the United States and its European allies can also capitalize on supporting transport and energy connectivity and fostering trade with better integrated economies in Central Asia and Caspian Sea basin. And Uzbekistan is actively advancing major connectivity projects of regional significance, for instance, the construction of Trans-Afghan Corridor that will connect Central Asia with South Asia with its almost 2 billion consumers. And beyond, by reducing goods delivery time from 35 to 3 days and cutting the shipping cost by 3 times. And it's vitally important to the country that remains a double landlocked nation, just being the first, I believe, among others. Unlike, by the way, Luxembourg, that is much more blessed, having direct access through its European Union partners. So it could, of course, diversify our transportation routes and decrease our dependencies on traditional destinations. Third, the United States' economic engagement with Uzbekistan could be best exercised through more active private sector engagement that the catalyst for sustainable and comprehensive economic transformation. And together we can prioritize and develop strategic business partnerships where investors and willing partners engage in technological innovation, digital commerce, green energy and renewables, agribusiness, finance, banking, and many more, especially those areas that Ms. Kaur has outlined in her own remarks. So in particular in textile, the first industry that my government was able to privatize fully. As you know, Uzbekistan is the world's 6th largest cotton producer, accounting for 5%, almost 5% of global cotton production and 10% of world global exports. So Uzbekistan can play a key role in stabilizing the supply chain of American textile apparel companies, reconsidering its presence in certain markets. Fourth, the U.S. can also engage with broader technical assistance programs in a way that enables Uzbekistan to advance its economic development strategy and reforms, and we look forward to continuing successful collaboration with the United States on a number of mutual priorities for increasing employment opportunities, quality education, strengthening resilient healthcare, ensuring food security, and addressing environmental challenges through mitigating the consequences of the desiccation of the Aral Sea. And taking this opportunity, I would like to extend my utmost gratitude to all those dignitaries who are with us today, coming from the White House, State Department, USAID, DOD, and other US agencies, for being so generous, supporting Uzbekistan government efforts to fighting against the pandemic over the last 2.5 years by donating almost 8 million doses of vaccines, by the way, shipped over to Uzbekistan just free of charge, unlike others. Fifth, both Uzbekistan and the United States are committed to further advancing multilateralism and supporting an open economy, and both countries could further strengthen cooperation and coordination in international governance platforms within the United Nations and its bodies and multilateral regional mechanisms as C5+1 to achieve tangible outcomes in our practical partnership in infrastructure development, energy, transport, environmental protection, and addressing the challenges caused by climate change. And as Uzbekistan strives to join the global economy, we are looking forward to expanding our collaboration with the United States on accession to the World Trade Organization, so an absolute priority for my government. So with changing dynamics in the region, so many emerging opportunities and untapped potential, I believe that the United States could move beyond its traditional realms and pursue much more proactive foreign policy that promotes partnerships in trade and investment, science and technology, in trade and education and capacity building, as well as the cooperation with international financial institutions. And we firmly believe that the United States' engagement in fostering economic interconnectivity and growth, Uzbekistan and other countries of the region will be able to strengthen resilience to many challenges and ensure prosperity of our people. Thank you for your attention.